Hello everyone, it's Mike here, and today I'll be showcasing my Barbamon deck profile. And it's going to be on TCG like usual, and it's a free simulator made by Barbamon X team, so if you want, you guys can go to this channel and check it out. But back to Barbamon, it's a really fun deck. I've been having a lot of fun using the, like the Mullosk version with Gesomon and X, Shaco and stuff like that. So obviously it ends up working out pretty well just because you can either manipulate your memory or just keep having your opponent just discard cards, and I just think it's a really fun casual deck to play, and maybe you might catch your opponents off guard once in a while. And now let's just get straight into the deck profile, and if you do like my stuff, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I also do have a Discord server if you guys want to check it out as well, so obviously that will be linked down below, so if you want, go ahead and join. But again, now let's actually get into the deck profile. So let's first start off with the Digi-Eggs, and I'm just running 4 of the BT6 Suno, since you do often usually discard some cards in your hand via some of your effects. I think this is a really good way to just bring back the cards and whatnot, since you do want the Barbamon X stuff, they draw 1, discard 1 on attack, so another easy way to filter out your hand and get extra pieces, and then this just combos really well, so you draw an extra card more or less. And I went 4 of the Shaco X from BT16. This is pretty amazing. I love this card just because of the fact that you can kind of have this in raising and just push out and immediately get its effect. Or say if you play out one of your other Shakomons, and you immediately can just evo this for free, get an extra draw, along with the fact that just trigger its effect. So again, pretty good. So you either gain memory or you get one of the Digimon trash. So that's really good overall. And again, you want to see this as much as possible. And sometimes I really don't mind just evoing this in the back for 1, especially on turn 1, just because again, you choke them more or less. And then I was running 3 of the EX8 Shakomon. This one isn't as good early game just because usually they only really would have like 1 Digimon out, but later on it can be a little bit better since sometimes you might have 2, so that's really good. And the alt tone is actually really amazing since they're all stuff that want to play Digimon by effect, so this can really mess them up if they're not ready. And this one, the EX8 Shakomon, I've actually was running at 2 originally, but then I changed it like later on when I was testing the deck a lot more. I think 3 is good. You can even bump this down to, for example, 2 and put this at 4, but I think this is fine enough. You can see it easy enough, but it's a really good tool early on just to swing, and get some extra filter in your hand. And the when attacking to delay level 3 is really good just because you can kill off floodgates. Obviously there are some that kind of mess you up, but overall this is a really good card for some early aggression. I also do have 1 Psychmon just for say if you face a person that is running Medieval Gallantmon, and that's pretty much it. And again, there are probably some other annoying stuff here and there that could reduce play costs, like even in the next set if Blue Flare starts to come back, same thing with Crosshair. But again, this is just here for Medieval Gallant as of now, but later formats can kind of change that. Now moving also onto champions, I run the 3 Gesso X antibody. You could bump this up to like 4 and take down like say a Devimon, or maybe even just run 3 of this Gessomon, but overall I just want 3. I think it's fine enough, and I do really love the soul strip aspect of it just because it can just deal with a lot of random stuff, like if you're facing against Biodramon or just really big stack decks like again like Mirage and whatnot, this can just come in handy just to remove their inherits, along with the fact that it can stun anything without sources. So that's really fantastic. So you can kind of just stun any of the tamers if need be, or just stun random little bodies, and I absolutely love it for that. And they went attacking, same thing as this guy, the Barbamon X, to basically draw 1 discard, so again that's really nice as well. Then obviously I went 4 of the BT15 Gessomon, just because it's pretty similar to the Shakomon, at least inherit-wise, and it's also similar to the Shaco X, where they have to discard a Digimon card, and if they don't, you gain 1, so obviously you can manipulate the memory or just get stuff in their trash, which is really good. The only thing that I guess does suck is that you can't attack with it if your opponent has no Digimon, but sadly is what it is, and for me it's not the worst thing, but again, it can kind of suck. And I also do want 3 of the EX3 Devimon, because it can be pretty nice if you can manage to say use this and then immediately use 7 jewelrize to kind of delete that Digimon, so they have to discard 1. So that can be kind of nice, and it's also a Fallen Angel as well. So obviously this works with Barbamon X, and this is one of the few targets I actually have in my deck for that. So I at least want some Fallen Angels, and this one is a good one for that. Now moving on to the ultimates, I won one of the PT70 Barbamon. This is pretty much just for like say any hybrid centric decks, so that way you can keep them locked down, and that's pretty much it. Dragomon from EX8 is also a pretty neat option, and frankly it's still really good, so if you want to like mix around your ratios you could run this at Mo, but I think it's fine to run it at 1 as of now. And you know, this one obviously plays out one of your opponent's level 4 lowest from trash, so obviously if no matter what, you can almost guarantee they play out something so you can play one of your rookies. This combos really well just because again, you can play out say something like any of your 2 Shakamons, and then if you have Shaco X in hand, you can easily just combo like that, so that's pretty good. And if they do just so happen to play a level 4, you can easily be like, okay, let me play out my Gessamon and then even the Gesso X, stuff like that. So obviously this does have some niche utility here and there, and it's all tones, so I think that's also pretty nice and can be kind of funny sometimes. And then obviously this style of the show full of the EX8 marinedevimon. This when attacking, you just basically play any Gessomon, Gesso X, Shaco, and stuff like that. It's obviously really fantastic, and honestly when I got the hang of the deck, this guy would just start shining and I love it. And obviously you do have to be at 1-on-1 memory, but with my deck, how I built it, I can almost always get that off, which is really nice. I also really do love the Inherit. Basically just play out any of your level 4 lowest guys, which is fantastic just because again, you get to have an extra body on board. I do want to Frismon from the EX6, which is still pretty nice. It's another fallen angel target for Barbamon, and the when Digivolving and on deletion, I think for me now it's getting a little bit easier to at least trigger one of them, which is really good just because either discard guard or you gain memory, which is really good. And the when attacking can also be decent if they don't trash your card. Again, play out Shakamon, and if you have this guy, just do that stuff again, which is really funny. And again, if you want to play a more fallen angel version, just bump this guy up. Or say if you wanted to, if you're not really facing a lot of hybrid stuff, you can just take this out, put this guy at 3. And also the fact that it's a blocker, I think is also really nice as well, just because you can just block the hit, let it die, and then get its on deletion off. Now moving on to Megas, I run one Barbamon, and frankly I think this is a really nifty card, and it's another way to counter Medieval Galamon if you do have like say one stack out that you can evil up into, so that way you can kind of just tuck the Medieval onto something else. Of course, granted if they have 2 or more Digimon out, but I think it's a really fun card just because they either trash a card in their hand or they get to remove something off the board, which is really good. And the all tones to be able to trash security by trashing a source is also really insane as well, so that way you can kind of just lower their security on their tone, which is really nice. And then I won 3 of the EX6 Barbamon. Obviously this is one of the main stars of the show, and it's really good. Obviously you kind of want to run it in a Barba centric deck, and overall just you kind of want to start trashing stuff, and I don't really need to really explain as much, but still you could run this guy at 4 if you want to take out Barbamon, but I went personally just because it can be a pretty nifty card. But or if you want to try other builds, you could obviously do that, but right now 3 has been working fine enough. Again, the 4th could come in handy because sometimes I just see way more of this guy if anything, but sometimes it is what it is. But obviously we do run, at least in my case, run 3 Barbamon X. This is either you trash a card in your opponent's hand, and if they don't, you get to play a fallen angel. In this case, pretty much just again the Frismon and the Devimon. And if they did trash a card, you pretty much get to trash security. But if you combo this with 7 jewelrize, it is really good because say if they have 5 more cards in hand, they always have to trash something, so you immediately trigger the trash security effect, which is really good. And even then 7 jewelrize is still really good just because you get to remove a body on evolution if you do have it in trash. And I also do like it's a when attacking as well, even though I mostly use it for the when Digivolving effect. And we of course have just 1 copy of the Shine Wave and Ruin mode just to do Ruin mode stuff, and that's pretty much it. Now we move on to the rest of the deck, and I only really won 1 memory set map from the Star Deck 16, mostly just because I think it's still one of your better mobile memory sets and stuff, just because again you do want some draw trash stuff so you can get an extra memory. And I will go over some other stuff if in the video, but I still think this is fine, especially as a 1-off, since usually I don't really need it all that much. And if anything, if it's say somehow in trash, Barbamon can't play it, which is really nice, so I just kind of like that fact. And then we move on to the options. 4 of 7's jewelrize, which I think you kind of do need if you're playing Barbamon X. just because it does have a really nice effect of being able to either trash a card if they're in your hand if they have 5 or more. And I haven't really been able to delete level 7s all that much, since almost always I usually just delete level 6s and lower. But for the most part, this is still really good just because it can delete most stuff, which I kind of like. And the trash effect of being able to kind of, when you evo into Barbamon X, just trigger it, which is really good. I love it, and you kind of want to see this as much as possible just because it still really is good to play it from your hand normally. And if you don't need it at the time, you could just discard it to just keep it in the trash for whenever you do evo into this guy. Then I just want some consistency cards, that being 3 purple memory boosts, a scramble, and then 2 trains. And I do want 2 proto forms as well, but you could use the original BT9 option, but I do like this one just because, again, it makes this a 3 cost evo. It could make this, say, a 2 cost evo, or just, you use proto form into, say, Gesso X over this guy, but you don't need it. But this is still a really nice bridge into this guy or this guy, just because both of them do need the X anti or their no form to get the effect. So obviously this is still really good, and especially at 2. Okay, now let's go over some recommended cards. I know there are a lot more here than usual, but I'll probably just skim over some of them if they're not as relevant. But let's get into it. The Pokemon ones here are just if you want to run a most self-mill version, the Star Deck 6 one and the BT2 one. The BT3 Demi Mirror is just another way to draw one trash one. The Star Deck 16 Cinnamon can be kind of nice if you just want to draw on attack if you have 6 or less. And the EX8 Shaman is also kind of nice since you do sometimes play Digimon by effect. The Rush Gearmon is here just rush for game more or less. Ignitemon from BT11 is pretty much here for the Inherit. The Barbamon X is also here just so that way you can trash one of your options to bring back one of your Barbamons and stuff. The marinedevimon, the one that has the Annihilation to play out a Dandevi, is also really nice. The BT2 Impmon is here just to mill cards, and the EX8 Impmon here to help mill extra cards more or less. And also I have Blugamon here just because if you did want to, you could also run AGs to kind of alliance with this guy, and also gain memory if you want the BT14 AG. So that can be kind of funny. And another thing that is also extremely hilarious to me is that you could combo it with this guy, where say if you have this guy on the board and then bring out Luga, you could swing for really big checks on a little rookie, which is also really funny. But you could also run, say, the purple hybrid package, with Velgo, Dusk, Loe, and Kaiser Leomon, which is also really nice because again they all have pretty nice effects to filter out or just mill. And Duskmon can just change colors and whatnot, so that's really good as well. And this obviously can play out Tamers as the Inherit. So overall, just the purple hybrid core is also really solid for this deck as well. And of course, there is Devimon. This just trash card from your deck. It gets stronger, and the Annihilation is also pretty nice to trash card in your opponent's hand. So if you have Barbamon out and then this guy has a separate stack, you could just have it die, and then that way they trash a card and you get to play out something hopefully. We also have Octomon from EX5, which I think is a really funny idea because they get to play a token, so that way, say if it gets deleted, they trash a card in their hand, but if it gets on your board, you could pretty much combo it off with, say, the Z Millenniumon by using Overclock, which is also really funny. And the Inherit is similar to Getsomon and Shakamon, where you gain memory if your opponent plays a Digimon by effect, which is really nice as well. And then we also do have Deltamon just to remove Floodgates, the BT19 one. We also do have the Dog Engine if you want to as well, to run that stuff because it still is pretty decent overall and I like it. Then the last champion I want to go over is the EX8 Gessomon. This is still pretty nice because the Annihilation is getting memory, and the Inherit is pretty much the same as the EX8 Shakamon to kill Floodgate. And I also do like that the Gessomon is 4 costs instead of 5 costs like the BT15 Gessomon, but again, overall still decent card. Now let's go on to the level 5s, and we do have some Lady Devis. You could run the BT3, the Draw 2, Trash 2, and the Inherit to delete level 3 if you use an option. It can be kind of nice sometimes since you do sometimes play 7 jewelrize, which is nice. Then we also have Lady Devi X from EX7. This one can be kind of nice, mostly just again if you play the Lady Devis and whatnot. And the Inherit to play out a level 4 potentially is pretty nice as well, since you could just play out a Gessomon, or say again with your Shakamons, or just anything else that you want to, which is really nice. And the fact that it can play a blocker retail token is also kind of insane, just because again, extra body and it's a token, so it might be annoying to remove. And again, it is again blocker retail, which can come in handy. Digimon is just here for the hybrid package stuff, more or less. Barbamon X is just for the dog engine stuff. And then if you want to again one more Devimon names, there is the Neo Devi from BT4. And again, if you're expecting to play against a lot of hybrid stuff, the opponent stone effect is really nice, and you won't probably get the opponent stone if you're placing a hybrid deck as much, since when I put Digimon Tamer becomes suspended game 1, I can't imagine that happening all too often, but the opponent stone effect on the main body is still really good. Then we also have the EX1 Lady Devi. On Digivolve, you may trash the top 3 cards of your deck. Is pretty nice just because of the fact that, again, you fill up your trash pretty quickly, so that way you're able to kind of hopefully get some pieces of trash. Then we have Mephisto Fawn from EX2. This is another Fallen Angel, and on play, draw 2, trash 2, which can be kind of nice just because, again, you can potentially play off Barbamon. The BT16 Silver Swan, again, just for the dog engine stuff. And Neo Devimon from EX6 can also be nice since it also does have on play. So it's basically if your opponent has 5 or less cards, you delete one of the level 4. If you have 7 more, they trash cards. So either way, you gain some value off this. And the on deletion to play a Dan Devi if you have 10 or more, or if your opponent has 10 or more, it's pretty good. So again, you could just leave this on the board if they try to delete it, play a Dan Devi. So that's pretty nice. And the inherit is pretty much the same as Freshmon, where you're able to pretty much just either trash your card in their opponent's hand or play a level 3 for free. Now let's go over some other cards you could want for the level 5 slot, that being Lady Devimon for BT11. It's basically be able to trash your card to grab back a Fallen Angel. And I can't imagine you using the inherit all that much because it only gives it to yellow Digimon with the same traits, but it is what it is. And also the EX6 one, Lady Devi, that is, either you delete a level 4 low if you have a Mirai, if not, you can play Mirai from trash. Then I thought Pumpkinmon from Star Deck 16 could be pretty funny because if you play this off Barbamon, you could pretty much slap down another level 3, which is pretty funny. Then we have Grand Quagmon Ace, which is a good removal tool for, say, just, any Tamers. Leviathan just does Leviathan things and be able to, delete highest and lowest potentially. And I think it always does delete the, lowest, and then depending on the board state, might delete the highest. And obviously it gains memory depending on, all that stuff, which is really good. Then we have the Dan Devimons, and I think the EX6 one is a little bit better just because it has the on play, and this one's a little bit more kind of just you want to stay on the board as much as possible. This one can obviously push for more aggression possibly, which is really nice, but this one's still kind of decent for the on deletion as well. Then we have Piedmon, which I think could be a pretty funny ace Digimon you could also play because of the when play and when Digivolving, and also the all tones when another Digimon is deleted. You can play an NSO trait Digimon from your trash, so that could just be pretty much the Devimon that I choose to run from EX8 as well. Then we have the Marinedevimon, which I mentioned is pretty much just here if you do want to run Octomon and have the possibility to basically overclock for game. And it's essentially just for that, for the fact that you could just do that stuff, which is really funny. And it's essentially a Blitz Army for Bubble in a way, if you do have tokens. And then we also do have, say, Matt, the BT2 one, on play with Tone April per Digimon or an option, so this can be kind of nice as well. We also do have the EX6 Mirai, just for the fact that, say if you do play out a Fallen Angel, one of your other guys may Digivolve into an Angel Romon or Lady Devimon, so essentially any of your Lady Devis if you want to run them, and you reduce the cost by 1, which is also really nice as well. Then we also do have AGs, mostly just for the Lugamon. Frankly, you could just say run the BT14 AG instead of the BT17 one, just because this one gains memory, so that's pretty much it. Then we have Keenan. I think Keenan can be kind of funny as well, just because they either had to trash something, a tame or an option, or you get to gain 1, draw 1, and then you get to gain extra memory, which is also nice. Koichis are just here for the purple hybrid engine, so obviously if you're not running purple hybrid, don't really want these guys. And Alice is here is just because of the fact that you could delete one of your other guys to go into a Barbamon or something, and say if you have say Frismon, you activate the on deletion like that and be able to go into your Barba for 1, so that's also pretty nice. Also I guess forgot to mention with this guy, if you do also decide to run the Deltamon as well, that also can trigger its overclock, so I think that's also pretty neat as well. Then we have some options. You could run the Brain Crush, obviously for the Fire mod, and you would want to run this if you of course running him. Pandemonium Loss I think still could be funny, since this could target high-end stuff a lot easier than 7 jewelrize. So if you did want to take out, say for example, one of the scrambles I won, you could obviously just play this. Late Memory Boost I think is kind of funny just because it grabs back any of your purple Digimon. It's basically kind of like Matt in a way, but only grabs back Digimon. You could also run Dark Wings Delusion from PT14, trashes top 3 cards to be able to give a Digimon Devimon +1 security check. So obviously, say if you want to give this guy extra damage, or if you want to use it on your EX8 Dan Devi, that's also really nice as well. Then we also have the BT9X anti, as I mentioned, as a replacement for Protoform, but it's also kind of funny because you could use this in combination with the Marine Devimon to essentially use Marine Devimons when attacking to play out something, and immediately go into Barbamon X within that same attack, so that way you have the inhibit live, and I think that's actually really funny, and again, still a really solid option. And that pretty much is my up-to-date Barbamon list, and I will get the gameplay video out soon. I just really want to upload a deck profile just because, again, this is probably one of my most favorite casual decks to play here and there, just because of how funny it is and how much thinking I have to do with it. And frankly, I think this is pretty peak purple, be able to combo off of really random things and be able to kind of throw your opponent off here and there. And I really do like how Barbamon is very flexible and what kind of card you can run in it. So that's another thing I just love about the deck. But what do you guys think of my list? Let me know in the comments below. And obviously, what do you like about playing Barbamon? Let me know in the comments below. Again, see you guys later. I'll have the gameplay out video at some point, but don't you worry. So stay tuned, I guess. Subscribe. Again, thank you all for watching. See you guys later.